game was end-to-end, entertaining, classic example as to why everyone and anyone who loves football should be watching the Kenya Premier League, Salim.
Yeah, it's true. It's very exciting. I feel sad for Gor Mahia. The goals that they scored, they are working on it, but the goals that they conceded, it was like giving an AFC Leopards advantage just to end the game.
What are you saying? What are you saying that AFC Leopards did not deserve? I mean, look at the kind of pressure that was exerted on Gor Mahia in the last few minutes of the game. You were even seeing it, and we were sitting with you right here watching this game, and you actually said AFC Leopards was going to score. Even Chico Lawi said that AFC Leopards was. No sooner had both of you finished talking about AFC scoring than Imbalambala scored from 40 yards. So clearly, Gor Mahia just wanted to lose this game, because as far as we're concerned, they should have denied FC Leopards that space right behind their defensive line. Probably they would have stopped them, but they decided to open up. Even when they were leading, they should have won this game very easily. But tactically, I think they lost this game in the last 10 minutes of the game.
Chico, it's only a matter of some few mistakes. We've seen the second goal from Jeremy. It was just only a silly mistake, I can say that. But honestly, it's AFC Leopards who have lost the game. It's AFC Leopards who have lost the game. Reason is because the difference between the points. 15 points in between Gor Mahia number 1 and number 2 on the other page, AFC Leopards.
Something else caught my attention. It's the reaction of the players at the very end, AFC Leopards. You're saying they lost the game. They came from a 2-1 deficit towards the end of that second half and equalized 2-2, and they celebrated. It must mean a lot to those players.
It would have been a huge loss, because over the last period of time, in 2011, Gor, of course, they shared 3 points each. In 2012, Gor took away 4 points. In 2013, Gor took away 4 points from them. Now, in 2014, they were like, okay, are they also going to take away some more points? So AFC clearly, though they didn't win, they have taken 4 points away from Gor Mahia at this particular point. So to me, I think they stand on top in this particular one.
It's very sad if AFC can be on top for such kind of moment. And when you see their position in the league, they're not supposed to come and play all out like the way they've done today against Gor Mahia. They are number 10 in the league. They're supposed to work with the other matches. It's only 11 matches remaining at the end of the season. That is 15 points difference. That's 5 matches. Gor Mahia should lose 5 matches, and AFC Leopards should win 5 matches so that they can be the same in points. When you look at the goal advantage and disadvantage, Gor Mahia, they are plus 11. AFC Leopards, they are 0. They've scored 14, they've conceded 14. So sometimes there are those kind of things that you don't focus on one match, focus on the league. They will give you a success at the end.
Salim, the strength that Gor Mahia derives from their inner feeling. I mean, this is a team that has so many problems, financial problems, some of the players wanting not to go for training or to practice, but they come into this game, they give their all, they show the reason why they are mighty, they show the reason why they are on top of that log. They show the reason why they are the defending champions of this particular league. And FC comes in with everything going for them, apart from the outside interferences and all that. They come into this game with everything at their disposal, and they don't win this game. So we saw two teams with a lot of character, because any team against Gor Mahia goes ahead, he's leading 2-1. There are very few minutes in the game, and you still push and get an equalizer. It all stems from the character of all the players on both sides, and that's something that I can really compliment for both teams in this one.
Speaking of characters from the players, there's one player who will not be a happy player tonight, and whom Gor Mahia fans will fully blame for that loss. Jeremy Onyango, in fact, from Ochieng Difer, he says Jeremy Onyango should be sold. Further goes on to say, not for much, for 2 shillings. Should we put it to Jeremy for costing them the 3 points?
No, it's really unfair. The only problem with fan Gors now is they only look for one match. Jeremy, previous matches when Gor Mahia, they were not performing very well, gaining 1 point, 1 point. Man of the match was Jeremy. For this one, it was only lack of mistake, and not for him. The only problem came from the defense and the midfield. Because how can you allow Imbalambala to shoot from 40 yards? Where are the midfielders? Those are the kind of things that before you come and summon Jeremy, you're supposed to look at the defense. The defense, it was a team that I've seen for this season. It has been very tired for 90 minutes. Gor Mahia, the whole of this week, they had a humble time of training, not like AFC Leopards. They played a match in the midweek and over the weekend. But when you come and see the contrast between the two teams in terms of fitness, Gor Mahia, they're struggling.
Celebo, do you blame Jerry?
Partly because of his positioning, because if you look at the way that ball was hit from 40 yards, it means that the goalkeeper was able to see, to have a view of exactly what was happening in front of him. So his positioning, I think I would blame that one. Of course, he did slip in the event of that. But again, I think his defense invited pressure into their own backyard. And you saw it from the onset. AFC Leopards, the moment they realized that Gor Mahia was actually backpedaling, they decided to push everybody forward, including Mbalambala, who was playing in a defensive midfield role. So clearly, Gor's defense let Jeremy down.
All right, so gentlemen, they're sharing their views. Salim doesn't necessarily blame Jeremy Onyango, the keeper of Gor Mahia. In fact, he says the problem starts from the midfield before getting to Jeremy. As for Gilbert Celebwa, he believes that Jeremy must bear the blame for that goal. We'll be hearing from Bobby Williamson in a while and who he blames. You'll be interested to hear about that. But first, let's cross over to Andrew Kabura, who's standing by. Andrew, your thoughts on the 90 minutes of football?
Jeremy, previous matches when Gor Mahia, they were not performing very well, gaining 1 point. Man of the match was Jeremy.
He's empty.
What's going on?
The legend himself, Musa Otieno. And let's talk about the game in general for starters. What did you make of the game?
No, first of all, I was very happy at least to see the teams with the goals, because I think with the fans, they came to the stadium to come and see goals. But for me, the big problem was it was a matter of seeing how they have been conceding goals, which I do believe that these guys are professional players playing for the international team, and I believe that with the stupid errors which they made as defending, I think it is something which they need to go back to the drawing board and see how they can rectify how they're going to defend in the big box.
Let's talk about the second half specifically. 1-1 at halftime, 2 more goals in at the second half. You probably thought Gor or AFC were going to come out more defending, just to hold on to the point, but they did not.
No, but I think it's a matter of the first half it was belonging to AFC Leopards, and then in the second half Gor Mahia came in and they didn't pull back. They were trying to score because it was a derby which you like to see, which you will come and see. At least these guys are entertaining us, and it was a good game to watch.
And let's talk about the refereeing. I mean, it's one thing we must push out there as well. The crowd was screaming and shouting on so many decisions. How did you, what do you make of the referees, officiating today?
No, first of all, I think the officiating, he was on the spot in each and everything. I do believe that for him, he's a qualified referee, but he handled the game very, very well, and I do believe that games like these ones, you get quality referees.
Let's talk about the changes. I mean, when they're in the dressing room at halftime, the coach does decide to bring on players, take off players. Talk about Gor Mahia's changes. Were they effective in the second half?
Now, first of all, when you look at Gor Mahia with the 4-4-2 system which they were playing, on the right-hand side, Mashemeji was holding. He was not going to make crosses. But again, when he brought in Kelly, you can see now they started again putting pressure on the other side. But I think with Gor Mahia, they could have still stick, because Walusimbi, the moment he goes, he still leave a gap on the left-hand side. And I think Leopards did a very good homework. Again, it was a bad defending. But again, with Gor Mahia, again, you can see that it was a matter of trying to hold back on the defense. They brought in Mburu on the left-hand side. He didn't do much. But with Otieno on the right-hand side, I think he's a young player who's coming in. He's a player who can go far.
I mean, we've talked about the rivalry between these two sides. We saw Gor Mahia take the lead. What exactly was the turning point for this AFC Leopards side? I mean, you talk about the decisions in terms of bringing on different players, but what was the turning point?
But I think for them is they won their last match. You can see it's a AFC Leopards which are very hungry enough, because for them to get a draw is like a win. You can see Gor are a bit disappointed, but again, Leopards are telling you that maybe the break, they have gone back, they regroup. You had during the week, they had talk with their players, and more or less you can see the fruits which is coming from them.
And we've got to talk about that Serunkuma goal that made it to a couple of fans in the stadium. Of course, we've got the benefit of replay. A couple of fans thinking it was an offside.
No, but again, when you were seeing it up there, you can do believe that where the ball came from, who was the last player to touch the ball. It was a AFC Leopard defender who touched the ball last. So Dan was not in an offside position because he's a clever player. Those are the kind of goal which Dan normally scored. He's not a kind of a striker who is going to run around, but with those nippy passes or nippy balls inside the box, it reminds me like Romario from Brazil. More or less, around the box, he gets the ball and he puts it on the back of the net.
He's actually one guy we've got to talk about more. He's not been with Gor Mahia. He had gone away for trials. He's just come back into the squad. Massive game for the club, and he scores a double.
But again, what do you need for a striker? Because a striker, his job is to sit closer to the box and bang in goals there. That his job is to go and score. As for him, he has done his job. He doesn't need to run around. He gets the ball, quality passes or quality crosses for him, and then he just needs to do the job for the team.
And trying to focus on this FC Leopards side, Jacob Kelly, is he supposed to be a starter? Most of their fans, at least on social media, do think Jacob Kelly should be starting these games.
But again, each and every player and the coach, he always come with a squad which you know that maybe is it the time for him to play in a kind of game like this one. He had his own game plan, and you see it really worked. And when he came on in the second half again, they started putting pressure on the right-hand side, which I do believe that whatever the coach had, it worked for him today.
So both sides are probably happy with the point, considering how the game did go. But let's talk about the impact of this point, specifically on AFC Leopards. They are still struggling to get to the top of the table now.
No, you must remember that for AFC Leopards, for them to get a point is a plus to whatever they're having. For Gor Mahia, they're going for the championship. You must know that Tusker is behind them. You know, working for them, they want to win each and every game because they were champions last year. Again, with champions, for them is to win. Again, for a derby, they came here for 3 points because regardless of whatever AFC Leopards were there, they wanted to come and win the game.
And for Gor Mahia, what does this mean?
Now for Gor Mahia, at least they feel like they have lost 2 points. Again, they just need to go back to the drawing board and see what they can do. But again, they need to work on the defending, which is not a good position for them.
2-2 here at the Nyayo National Stadium. It's back to you, Chikolawi.
Thank you, Kabura. Gentlemen, listening to Musa and Andrew Kabura there, you get this feeling that for AFC Leopards, it was only about the bragging rights. For Gor Mahia, it's a march towards the trophy, towards the championship.
Well, I don't think it was all about bragging rights. I think AFC Leopards wanted to put these points in the bag. In looking at the position in which they are in right now, in 10th position with 23 points, they are still below the 8th position. So clearly, AFC really wanted these points so bad.
Then why explain the celebration? 2-2, a draw, a point each. AFC celebrate. Gor fans or players leave like they're disappointed.
Chico, to be short, Celebo.
Yeah.
Gor Mahia, they won the trophy. AFC Leopards, they are working on top 8. As simple as that.
No. AFC Leopards is not working on top 8. All that AFC Leopards wanted to have a winning start in this particular one, and winning start because
how?
In every game.
This is the 5th match in the second leg.
This is what I'm saying. Things have been very bad, especially in the boardroom. Things have been very bad on the street. The fans want the office out. They think that the office is not doing a good job. So I think for the office, to them, they really wanted FC Leopards to beat Gor Mahia to at least cool down what is going on in the streets at this particular point. But again, you are losing 2-1. 2-1 you're losing. So for you to be able to tie that game and get a point from it, I think everybody would be in a mood to celebrate, sincerely.
It reminds me on England, the last match, where Arsenal won their last match, and they were very happy
To qualify 4th.
Qualify number 4. While Liverpool, they won their last match, but because they're number 2, they're really sad.
Salim already taking a jibe at Arsenal fans. I'll tell you who else took a jibe. It's Bobby Williamson taking a jibe at AFC Leopards players and fans. Stay right here to hear what he had to say in his post-match interview with Andrew Kabura. We'll be back to wrap up this game, take a look at the talking points, give you the results of other games across the Kenya Premier League after this break.